Welcome back to Feast Fight Back. Today's video was a part 2 of appointment day. It was another fun food Friday, so I ate some amazing foods and a really honest talk about the last year, where I was this time last year and everything that's happened in the past year. So I only started properly filming from the afternoon, so this was my morning. I had my porridge for breakfast and I basically put my chocolate in the porridge and then melted it with it in it. It was okay, but I'll go back to melting the chocolate on the top next time. Also still had my 2 slices of toast on thick bread with my banana. This is my little outfit of the day. Then I went into uni. I had my snack in uni. I had an apple and then this PhD birthday cake bar, which was delicious. Solid 8 out of 10. Then for my lunch, I had a coronation chicken wrap, and I have not had coronation chicken I think since 2019. Also had my mini cheddars, my corny yogurt and my NYX crunchy caramel bar. Excuse me looking rubbish, but I've been at uni all morning and my mum was doing the food shop and I was like, I kind of want to do something different for my afternoon snack today. And I used to absolutely love these. I've not had one for, I genuinely cannot remember the last time I had one. Like years and years and years and years. But I have YUMS. When I was younger, I was never the biggest snacky kid. I didn't really like desserts. I was a very fussy eater. But one thing that I did love was YUMS. And I don't know, I kind of just forgot they existed. And then I was suddenly like, I really want a yum. So we were doing the food shop anyway today. So I was like, Mum, can you pick up some YUMS? And she was like, yes, of course I can. So despite the fact that it's been a very busy day, I am very, very tired. But that is not a reason to not keep pushing myself. So gonna have a yum, and also think I might have a pizza for dinner. So I went and got my YUMS for my afternoon snack. Yeah, to be honest, I wasn't even that nervous about it. I was quite excited. I'd not had one for such a long time. I remembered it being nicer than it was, but yeah, it was nice. If you don't know what a yum is, it's basically just dough with iced sugar on it. That's pretty much it, but yeah, tasty. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. Hello, it's me on my bedroom floor again. I kind of cleared up my room a little bit, so I thought, okay, I can do it on my bedroom floor this time. Yeah, I am quite tired still. But I really wanted to make this part of the video for a couple of reasons. First off, because I think I'd be naive to not acknowledge how important right now is to me. I think I need to take a step back and think about where I was this time last year. I think that's important. I thought I wanted to explain what's happened this last year, and as much as anything else I wanted to explain it from my perspective now, because yes, you can go back and look at my earlier YouTubes when I started making them at the end of last year, and you can see the ups and downs, but I guess I wanted to do the recap of this last year. This time last year I'd just been admitted to hospital. I was in an awful place. Mentally and physically, I was not in a good way. I had relapsed very quickly, quite suddenly. I'd had a couple of years of stability, and so it was unexpected for everyone, including me, that I relapsed to the extent I did and as quickly as I did. And I'm going to go into why I think that relapse happened in a different video. I was admitted to hospital, and things were not good. I think I was there for about a month before I started feeling able to take those first steps in recovery. I was so exhausted. My experience of my anorexia is, it's sort of like, it feels like a switch has been pressed in my head, and when that switch is pressed, it feels near on impossible to turn it back. So in the sort of the few months that I went downhill, it just felt like everything happened so quickly that I didn't even know where I was. Even when I was in that bad place, I still didn't really recognise how bad things were. I think the first month I was in hospital, I wasn't making my YouTubes then or anything. I felt like I was just, I don't know, lingering at the bottom of a really dark pit, and I kind of knew I was in a dark pit. I didn't realise how dark it was, but I had no energy I didn't think anything could get better again. I thought, oh, this has happened, and I don't see a way out, and that it was not good. After I'd been in hospital for a few weeks, I'd worked really hard at trying to maintain some level of intake orally, as well as needing to have like the NG and things like that. And I started trying to build on my oral intake. I started trying to go through that process of exposing myself to food again. And I still, at this point, I didn't really know why I'd relapsed or anything, and I was absolutely terrified. I was terrified that I was going to realise why I relapsed whilst I was in hospital, because I didn't have any support around me. When you're in a general hospital, people are lovely and they try and understand, but they don't understand eating disorders as well as in an eating disorder unit, or if you're in therapy. And you know, I had support, I had visits from services, and obviously I had my parents, my friends, and some wonderful people who came to see me, but I was terrified that I was going to start having enough mental energy to realise what went wrong, and I was scared of it. But I started making those first few steps, and I started feeling like, okay, I can do this, I just need to keep going. And looking back now, it was still such minuscule things, but they felt huge then. I remember that first mouthful of yogurt that I took, and I was like, the mental explosion around it was something I can't even explain, and I can't really understand why it was so big, other than the fact that I was unwell. Anyway, if you want to go and have a look at what happened in more detail, then you can go back to the first YouTubes. But I eventually, a few weeks after we thought be able to, in December, I got stable enough to be able to come home. And I thought, oh, that's the hard bit out of the way. Oh, how wrong I was. That's when the really difficult bit began. Because the terms of my release from hospital were strict, and I had to make a certain amount of progress, and I had to keep going and everything like that. And it was hard. Harder than I ever expected it to be. I never realised that food would cause that much of a difficulty. And the worst part is, and everyone always says this to me, you have such good insight. And I always say sometimes insight is a really difficult thing to have, because to know why, or to understand the illness, to understand how you're feeling, but feeling completely unable to do anything about it in that situation. I kept on telling myself, I know why food is this difficult. I know I am unwell. I know biologically what's going on. I understand it all, but that does not take away the panic every time I go and try and do the next right thing. And I know I've said it before, but this is the 4 months after I came out of hospital. were probably some of the most difficult months of my life. I cried more tears than I think I ever have before. I have never felt so confused as to why all of this was happening. I was trying to search for the answer whilst I was in the middle of it, and my nurse kept telling me, now's not the time. But I like conclusions and I like knowing things, so it was impossible for me to think, I can't understand this. My team were fantastic. They were very calm, clear, and my parents 100% kept me going. Doesn't even feel like enough of a description. And I think one of the hardest things was I was so desperate to get back to life that I kept on thinking, I can do this, this is going to be fine. And I think this is where the complete misunderstanding of how unwell I was, I didn't get it in my head, because I could think all these things through and plan them, and I thought, yeah, I'll be able to eat that plate of pasta next week, and I'll be able to go to London with my friends next month, and yeah, I'll be fit and ready to go to, I don't know, France for a week in a couple of months. And I had absolutely no idea how unwell I was. I was still in a wheelchair at this point, and I was told that I wasn't coming out of it for soon, and I still went into every appointment absolutely convinced, oh well, I'll be able to come out of it this week, and it was like, no, you're not. And I remember going to an appointment in, I don't know, March, and I was like, well, you know, I'll be able to come out of the chair this week. No. Well, I'll be able to come out next week. And they said, at the moment you won't be able to come out for another few months. And I went, I thought people were lying to me. I was like, there's absolutely no way that's not going to happen. And I made errors in my recovery in those sort of 4 months, where, because I didn't understand how ill I was, I kept on thinking I was going to be able to do things that I couldn't yet manage. So I would try and do them and then struggle so much that it all fell apart. And I went around this cycle for like 4 months, where I was like, I'll be able to do that, didn't manage it, felt awful, felt like a failure, burnt myself out, and then ended up in an appointment in floods of tears, like, everything's falling apart, I can't do it, I'm exhausted. And it got to, I caught COVID in April, and it absolutely terrified me that it made me so unwell. And that, I thought, was going to shake me and sort of be like, this is how unwell you are, like, you need to get better. But unfortunately, it didn't do that. I felt like it took that last bit of energy I had, that I had been fighting. I need to stay out of hospital, I need to keep going. And I've been trying so hard, and I kept thinking, I've got it, I know I've not got it, I've got it. And I was going round and round that cycle, where I was just so desperately wanting to get better. I was so desperate to stay out of hospital. And I was exhausting myself. And then I got ill. And it took every ounce of energy I had and just gone. And it was that week that, the week after, I saw my nurse, and he was sort of like, I think you need to go into a specialist unit. I think, you know, we've tried. It's, you know, I think we all thought I was too tired. I was too tired at this point. And actually, it was that week, actually it was that night, I mentally broke. I was going to bed, and I'm very rigid in my routine, it's an autism thing, And I'd do exactly the same thing each evening, each night. And I'd come to bed and I kept telling myself, just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. And I came into my bedroom, and the thought of the next day and having to go through it all again, I was like, I can't do this. I can't do it again. And my mum and dad came in and I literally fell to the floor. And I just said, I can't do it anymore. And my parent just held me. And we all thought, okay, like, I'll go into hospital. I need more help. I'm trying. I've tried. I've kept myself out of the general hospital. But I was so far away from living the life I wanted to live, and I still had that want to live that life, and I still had that I'm going to get there, but I was exhausted. And the next day, my dad came into my room before breakfast, and he took my hands and he said, Fee, we're going to be preparing your food now. And I didn't argue. I didn't say, no, I can do this. I just nodded. And in my head, I was going, I handed over control. I handed over the small amount of control that I thought I was managing, taking away any opportunity that my eating disorder was going to take to try and hijack things. And we thought this was going to be a temporary measure while we waited for a bed. And the next 3 weeks we waited for a bed, but in the meantime I was like, I'm not going to use that as a reason to not get better. So we just kept on going. And through that process, I slowly started to feel stronger. And the more food I ate consistently, the stronger I was feeling. And I know that now, but I didn't know that at the time. I just knew that I was not feeling as exhausted. So I handed over control. And for a few months, we basically mimicked an inpatient setting at home. But I started feeling stronger. I started getting stronger. After a couple of months, some of the control, we handed it back to me. I was still unwell, but mentally I was starting to gain strength. A few things happened in the next few months that made a difference. The most important thing was consistently managing my meal plan, because none of the other things would have mattered if I wasn't getting the nourishment that I needed. That was the absolute most important thing that happened, was my meal plan. But I got my autism diagnosis. I got my job, which I love. Started being able to have energy to spend time with people again. I stopped isolating myself so much, and those people that never gave up on me, I realised they were still there, and they were still as kind as ever. The more energy my brain had, and the more ability I had to be there. My sessions became more productive with services because I was better able to think about things, and I knew what was going on, and I knew how I was feeling. Then I got out of the wheelchair, and obviously that was such a huge goal for me for such a long time, and I was I'm doing this. And yeah, I didn't come out of it until August, but I got out of it. And like I said, when I made that video that said I get out of the chair, I could beat myself up about the fact that it took me so long. I could be proud about the fact that I managed to do it. I think in doing that, I realised I can do this. Now, I don't believe in a light bulb moment. I don't believe you have to choose recovery, because to me that makes it sound like you're choosing your illness if you're not, and this illness is not a choice, and that's where I sit on that debate. But I believe there are a series of things that happened that led to me feeling that I could better manage recovery. And those things, it was a bit of a bi-directional thing, because the more I did them, the better I was feeling, and the better I was feeling, the more able I felt to do them. I started making more increases to my meal plan, and I realised I could manage more food. I started managing bigger and better increases. And this is not to put down what I was doing at the beginning of the year, because that was where I was at the beginning of the year. That's what I could manage then. At the end of the day, you've got to do what you can manage in that time. But by this point, I could manage more. So I did more. And I kept on going, and I kept on going. And in the last few months, I spoke at a conference about something that's really important to me. I've been thoroughly enjoying my job. I went on holiday and had multiple course dinners and foods that I couldn't even dreamt of having. I restarted uni. My gosh, I still have days where I think I'm exhausted, I can't do this anymore. And I think when you don't battle something like this, you will never understand what it's like, how much energy it takes to simply maintain status quo. Last week at uni, I had a really wobbly day because I was tired and I was feeling all over the place. I was feeling overwhelmed, and then I still had to eat my snack. And I felt so angry. And I said it in my appointment this week. I felt so angry with my snack. I don't want to eat you. I don't want to feel the way I feel and then still need to eat my snack. But I did. I did eat my snack. I FaceTimed my mum and she was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "No, I'm not okay. But I need to eat my snack." And actually, my wonderful lecturer noticed that I wasn't quite okay that day, and we ended up having a chat, and I felt a lot better after that. And that's when I realised how important it is to talk, how important it is to let people help you, and how important it is to not feel alone in this. So that's a bit of an overview of the last year. What I wanted to talk about is unexpected things that I found. Number one, the amount of food I need to eat. Yeah. The amount of food I need to eat and the amount I need to rest. And it is difficult in society today where you are constantly told, move more, eat less. I have to constantly tell myself, eat more, move less. That's difficult. The most important thing I've learned is consistency. You have to do it every day. On the good days, on the bad days, on the grey days, on the sunny days. You have to do it every single day. And actually, it's that consistency that is more important than the big recovery wins. Obviously, I don't film every day on my YouTube, but I eat my meal plan every single day. And if I didn't have that consistency, I would not be in the place I'm at today. Consistency is the most important thing. Talking. I couldn't have done this alone. But I was talking to someone a while ago and they were sort of like, "Do your YouTubes help?" And I was like, yeah, they do, because I get so much support, but also like they help me because I sit here and talk and I'm like, oh, I didn't realise I was feeling like that. I have a conversation with myself. Support. I think battling this illness is one of the most isolating things in the world. Battling with your mental health is so isolating. The majority of the times I've started to feel worse is because I felt alone. And the power of simply just getting a hug from someone that you know cares about you, it makes a difference. Getting a message from someone that says, I'm thinking of you. When I was in hospital, when someone came to visit, it made my day. It made my week. Letting people in, me stopping trying to put on this facade that everything was fine when it wasn't. And that's why I'm saying now, I'm not recovered. I still have a mountain to climb. But I can also look at the valley that I've come out of and think, I did that. Thank you to the people who have been there for me. Every comment, every message, it makes a difference and more than you'll ever know. So thank you for being with me on this journey, helping me feel supported, believing in me when I didn't believe in me. Because yeah, I'm not recovered, but I'm not where I was this time last year. After filming that little bit, I had a chat with Mum because I wasn't too sure whether or not to have a pizza for dinner, but you'll see what we decided. And then I just wrote up some of my lecture notes from uni. Really quick video just to say I had my yum yum and I'm having a pizza for dinner, and that is okay. I've had a long day and it's okay to finish on food that's slightly easier, quicker to cook, and yeah, pizza's good. So I went and got my pizza, I popped it in the oven, I cooked my pizza, I got it out the oven, and then I ate my pizza. Yeah, it was delicious and it was exactly what I needed, to be honest. And that's okay. You're allowed to just do that if you need to. Obviously still had my dessert. I had a yogurt with a couple of biscuits. After dinner I had a big wind down session and did some of my new paint by numbers. Then I had my night snack. And I wanted to finish this video on this quote, which I know I finished on before, but I think it is so important and I absolutely love it.